Okay, so we've done a little bit of indices earlier on in the paper, but this is our real kind of algebra starting to kick in and our solving equations questions. So the first one's worth 3 marks and it's slightly easier. On the left-hand side, I've got 5 and then in brackets f minus 3, and on the right-hand side, I've just got f plus 10. So the first thing I need to do is I need to expand out those brackets so that I can then continue on from there. So remember, if you want to expand your brackets out, you've got to times everything inside the brackets by whatever is outside the bracket. So I need to do the 5 times by the f, which gives me 5f. And I need to do 5 times by minus 3, so I'm going to get minus 15. I've not done anything to the right hand side, so that's just going to stay as f plus 10. Now, when solving an equation like this, I need to get my letters onto one side of my equation and my numbers onto the other side of the equation. So I want to move the f over to the left hand side because I've got more f's on the left hand side already, and I'm going to move my minus 15 onto the right hand side. So you've got to do those opposite operations to move those around. So to get the f off the right hand side, I need to minus f, and if I do that to both sides, it's going to disappear off the right hand side, just leaving me with 10. And on the left hand side, I'm going to have 5f minus f, which is going to take me down to 4f. So I've now got that 4f minus 15 equals 10. I now want to move the 15. Opposite of taking away 15 is to add 15. And again, if I do that to both sides, it's going to go from the left and appear on the right. So it's just going to leave me with 4f on the left, and on the right hand side, 10 plus the 15 is going to give me 25. Final stage to go. I don't want to find out what 4f is. If I'm trying to solve, I just want to find out what f is on its own. So the inverse operation of timesing by 4 is to divide by 4. So I need to do that, and when I do that, it's just going to leave me with 1f, and when I'm writing an algebra, that's just an f on its own. And then I need to do 25 divided by 4, and that's why this question wouldn't be on a calculator paper, because it's not going to give me a whole number. Now you could write it as a fraction and simplify it yourself, or you can use your calculator. So 25 divided by 4 and pressing equals, I then need to use my SD button, and it gives me 6.25. So I've found that f equals 6.25, which is what my answer is for that first question. Part B is a much more tricky question. I've got algebraic fractions within a solving equation question, so it is really very tricky. If you're not feeling so confident, it might be better to just move on to latter questions to see if you can try and come back to this question if you've got time at the end. But if you are feeling more confident, what we want to do is get rid of all these bottom numbers on our fractions, because once I've got rid of the denominator, I can then start working with the top of my fraction. So what I'm looking for is 3, 2 and 6. What's my common factor? And I want my lowest common factor to make life as easy as possible for me. So 2, 3 and 6 are all factors of 6, and so therefore that's what I'm going to do to help me to simplify this. So what I do is I times the whole lot through by 6, so everything on the left hand side and everything on the right hand side. So I have 6 lots of my h plus 7 over 3. I have 6 lots of my 2h minus 1 over 2, and I have 6 lots on the right hand side of my 5 over 6, and then I can work through each of those, being able to simplify them. So what I can notice here hopefully is that these are divisible, and so therefore I can do some simplifying. So 6 divided by 3 I can simplify, and that just gives me 2. Here 6 divided by 2 simplifies to give me 3, and on this side the 6 divided by 6 just gives me 1. So I can then start writing it out without having anything on the bottom of my fraction anymore, because I've cancelled these things off. So I've now just got 2 lots of h plus 7, 3 lots of 2h minus 1, and 1 lot of 5, so I've just got 5 on the right hand side. now I can go through expanding out my brackets and hopefully solving my equation. So 2 times by h gives me 2h, and 2 times by 7 gives me 14. 3 times by 2h gives me 6h, and 3 times by the minus 1 gives me minus 3. And on the right hand side I've still got the 5. Then I can collect my like terms, so I've got 2h and 6h, which is 8h in total, and 14 take away the 3 means that I've got 11 with my numbers, and I've still got that 5 on the right hand side. I've now got a two-stage equation to finish off with, so I need to remove the 11 from the left hand side. So if I take away 11 from both sides, that will just leave me with 8h being equal to minus 6. And if I then divide by the 8 to get rid of the 8, again, it's not going to give me a whole number answer, but I've got my trusty calculator. So if I type in minus 6 divided by 8, my calculator gives me a fraction, and you could just write it down as a fraction, or you can press your SD button and convert it to a decimal, and it gives you minus 3/4, which is minus or negative 0.75 for your full marks.